so long, but it was like so much. Anyway,
The
I'm
is a
live.
great guy.
Yeah. He is one of the biggest contributor. I am live with Zeke, right? That's your
Yeah,
name. Let me just retweet. I wasn't sure if I should title this Zeke
yeah, I can
or
tweet this too. I
Ekez.
kind of like Ekez. I find that it's like it's like you're saying how Don Cryptonom is like a alternate identity or something that's super cool. I feel like Ekez is like that. Like Ekez is like fucking like ice in their veins, like super cool. And then I'm like a normal guy. I ride horses. I don't actually do that, but
It's very difficult, so tiring. I did ride today. Um, you look like the rapper. What's his name? Um, he had this song with the number of suicide line.
Oh God, Logic.
Logic.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't.
No,
um,
you have.
it's possible. I don't really listen to him much. I don't think he has curly hair.
I
These
I I
curls.
think he got bald now, but you have beautiful curly hair.
Thank you.
You know. Let me continue with some compliment. You have beautiful, very white smile as well.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like this. You should be more public with this
Yeah,
man. Um, you're based in California,
man.
in Berkeley.
In the Bay Area in Oakland right now.
Yeah, like it's and I feel so many people, so many DAO people, and I feel it's very important. Because so few years ago I had a friend and he was explaining me logistics and he was always wanted to go California, right? Many people say California is bad or this, but he was saying it's all about logistic. Bay
Logistic.
Area has the
Mm,
best developers. Like you, that's it. Like the same, the Germany has logistic for the car, Switzerland for the watches. This is and I feel like the fact that few DAO members is from there is is quite positive indicator because there is you,
yeah,
Jake
there
Hartnell, right?
there's a number of us. Yeah. Noah, Blue Note, um, Sagar, Bao, Elliot. Yeah,
The
there's
names I
like
didn't even heard.
yeah,
I haven't
yeah,
even.
we have meetups we have meetups with like 10 plus people, which is
Yeah.
fun. That is like
So
the logistical advantage of the Bay Area, I guess.
so that's why I would leave June a long time ago. But the fact that there is few people from the Bay Area, I'm like,
Well,
it
damn, that
it might
means
be
we have the
worth the
best
bet.
developers in the world.
Yeah. It might be. I'm saying, maybe I'm still gonna make it. So, there is also else how right?
Oh yeah, Nick's here too.
Um,
Nick is moving though. Well, they're
yeah.
going. Elsa's going elsewhere. Yeah.
Someone is saying I'm drinking. This is I was saying how boring I am. So
What
this
is
is
that water?
this is my mug. I usually have the tea in the morning in this, but now inside there is non-alcoholic wine because I don't really drink. That's how
Mm.
boring I am, you know.
Dude,
And
you can't say this on stream. You've got to have the Don crypto non. You
it's
know.
okay. Stream is when stream when I build back the trust
Oh,
of
I
the
see.
community, and then videos is where I lose the trust of. That's, so yeah, that's why I was drinking. Max Frenchy, hey, thank you for being here. By the way, about Elshow, Nick, you guys need to speak to him about his validator node on Juno.
Okay. Why?
He's missing a lot of blocks, and it's
Uh
been constant for months. I think he needs to upgrade his you know.
oh.
Um,
um.
I know
Yeah.
it's not a problem to miss few blocks. But yeah, like I think there is something like should maybe
You're
you should
a
look.
detective, Don. Do you have like a ranking in your mind of every validator and how many blocks they're missing at a given time?
No, this is actually only the one that miss a lot of blocks, which is not important. And I felt horrible because I spoke to Nick live,
Mhm.
right? And it was like just the day after I brought some like drama on Twitter, and I went on the Discord and asked the Juno community about Nick missing a lot of blocks, that being this. And I felt because you don't know how to say it and not bring drama because everyone assume you want something bad here. I don't
Mhm.
want. I really like Nick, very nice guy. Just
Me too.
it's like I'm not.
Yeah, we can connect the wires here, get in touch.
Yeah, I was thinking, I don't know, maybe the internet down in the Bay Area often, or
Oh
something.
yeah, it
Um,
could be pretty bad.
but you are not validator, right?
No, but
And
if you
why
want
you are
to
not
delegate
validator?
$100,000 of Gina to me, I might become a validator.
I tell you how to do it. You know, you are the you are the core developer of DAO.
One
I'm
of the people that does it, yeah.
I don't I don't even want to say public because it will get hated. Your colleague Nick Merrill also has a lot of delegations from developer fund. Actually,
Oh
like
yeah.
90 or 95% of his okay, detective done. Yeah. So
You're a fucking detective, bro. What the
how
fuck?
to how to be nice, how to say I nothing good he
What other
we
validators? I want to go through the list.
yeah, so all you have to do, you just start the node and everyone will delegate to you. You friend with Jake Hartnell?
Yeah, I know, Jake. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure.
good.
Dude, I'm sure
Good.
you can figure it out. Just I actually do. So I run a relayer right now. I
Nice.
probably shouldn't say this on stream,
Yeah.
but
Why
I
not?
run it. I run a relayer between Juno testnet and Juno mainnet right now.
Why
So
you shouldn't?
well, because I don't want to maintain it. I don't want people to move actual money across it. But hypothetically speaking, right now you could put um, Juno in a testnet DAO, or you could move. I have some Juno X on my Juno account, but so don't do this because I'm going to turn off the
Okay.
relayer. But anyway, so I've got some serious DevOps experience. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I could run this validator in a heartbeat.
That's why I wonder because you are like many people actually told me, I messaged you in February because when I was looking for people to speak to people from DAO, I don't even know if it wasn't Jake Harnell, which I tried to approach it as well. Message this guy. Like so many people mentioned your name that I feel you are like this kind of DAO Juno OG that many
Oh,
people don't
gee.
even know about. I said OG in very weird accent, like prolong that. It's my Polish language, but and
No, that's
and
great.
and you don't get enough credit because you this kind of anon entity out there, right? And I wonder how these developers are financially incentivized. So I want to ask you, you are
Yeah,
core
great question.
developer of on DAO, and probably some more projects. So if you can actually tell which one, how you get financially incentivized doing this, because as the validator, you could be financially incentivized. That's why I'm asking why not.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I have not considered before. I don't know. I maybe I will run a validator. I like to. I don't know. At the same time, I really like to get my things done. I do a lot of work, and I don't know. Maybe if people one, I think I'm more productive by doing fewer things. So running a validator would take some of my time that I otherwise spend on development. Um, how I get paid. I work on DAO. I do some work on Juno Swap. I'm right now doing a little bit of work with Stargaze. and I get paid through dev grants from Core One. So
Mhm.
I do fine. I pay my, I do quite well. So it's really a quite nice arrangement. I think Juno's got a pretty good setup for like incentivizing people to do development work.
Mhm.
And then there's things like Hack Juno, which presumably um, will pay out some amount of money. Um, so yeah, I
Yeah,
also
like I wish I would be deaf so I could make some money as well.
no,
Um,
it's really I do more than fine. So
yeah,
it's quite nice.
is it your main focus right now? Are you like full time Juno, DAO, Stargaze, or do you do also other job?
I'm pretty much full time. I'm pretty much full time
Hmm.
DAO. I think would be the way to describe it. And then I like occasionally do other stuff.
Hmm.
Um, Probably slightly more than full time. I think in like probably all crypto devs like we're like weird people. I think like so. But yeah, do
It's
slightly full.
okay. I
Yeah.
I feel I'm not deaf, but I get quite along with you people. You know, like
Yeah. So we're
so
kind of weird people.
I need to tell you, like I don't know anything. I don't know how to run validator node. Like so, like you
Yeah. How are
see,
you
like
doing this?
it's white label validator. It's
Holy
like,
shit.
but I expose that and people attack me now. But I'm only one white label validator who actually openly says I'm a white label validator,
No, that's
right?
good.
Because
Yeah.
that's the like that's the way for me to make few dollars.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not hiding this. This is exactly what I'm trying to do here. And I got the person. If I would know you, I could even ask you, hey, do you want to do, I'm a good guy, I share 50-50. It's like, but I think you could do better without me actually. So
um,
that's how I do it. And many people, I was speaking of this in crypto, assume that if I'm in crypto I know how to do those things. But
yeah, no,
I
it's true that like most people don't. Yeah, which I think is
yeah.
something we have to think about when we're like designing things like data. Is that like I think we kind of get in our heads that like everyone in this space could like use a terminal, and
Hmm.
not the case. And
it,
it's not that not, and we shouldn't be relying on that. Like we should be building tools that are usable. Outside of that like
and it's
narrow.
not even close, because um spinning up the node, you said it's nothing for, like, you can do it in a matter of like
Yeah, you could probably
hours,
do that right
right?
now.
It's
Yeah,
just such a basic stuff. And if you actually like, but people who are not devs from outside, they are in crypto just to use tools. So
yeah,
my ability that I still can talk about crypto without having this knowledge and like trying to connect, and I think it's good because the fact I'm not developer, I can ask questions that actually could be explained for people like me. Of course, I'd love to learn, right? So
yeah.
hopefully maybe in one
Who
year.
runs your validator? Do you like?
um he's called Ted Crypto, so he was very small.
Oh, nice. Okay.
He didn't have validator. He was on Kerberos and Beatsong,
Mm,
these small chains.
oh, nice. Yeah.
And I announced that I want to do Stargaze node, and I'm looking for people who
Oh.
can do it for me. So I spoke with Friends Validator. A few people approached me, and I already had contact with this guy because he wanted to come and chat on my channel. And like I called with him, we had a chat, and he was just starting, but he's like really good, you know. And it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you start, I start, is the perfect match. So of
Yeah.
course, with friends, I could probably get way more delegations even from them or something. I don't even know if they would be okay that I talk about this. That they do offer this service, right?
You're
Um,
a exposer of the truth.
that's the reality. So I was like, hey, let's do it together. And just as I wanted to start the node on Stargaze, the Badkit, the artist behind the Badkits, was like, hey, I saw your tweet. Do you want to run it under Badkit's name? So the
Mm.
Bad Kids is three people. I kind of manage social, try to promote this, um, and then I started the other validators on Nomic, Juno, and Cosmos. So I'm even on Cosmos Hub. But yeah, it's with the other guy, So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Well, and to like my earlier point, I do think like there is a lot of like running a validator, like the really good validators, like that's like serious work. Like those guys are like
Hmm.
doing like seriously cool shit. And like yeah. So that I think that's smart, like outsourcing it to someone or doing it with someone who like knows what they're doing. Like, did you read that was it from Blockpain, I think, who published the like Juno network chain halt medium article about how that
I
went?
did. I
That was
did.
insane. I was just like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like these guys like are so talented. You know,
Oh,
like they're
Blockpain
doing
is
it.
so good. Blockpain is
Yeah,
like one of the best validators. I do actually delegate some to block. Still, I delegate some tokens to Blockpain, despite like having my own. Like simply because he's good. Like Blockpain,
yeah,
Crypto Crew,
amazing.
Polkachu. Um,
Shoot, dude. Yeah, I mean these guys are like full time, just like
yeah,
it's actually like when you think about it, like running the infrastructure for these blockchains that secure like really huge amounts of money. It's like it's neat
yeah,
that there are people who are like very professional doing it, and
yeah.
that there's like funding for that. That they it's like good.
I just I
It's
just
like really
spoke with the
impressive.
Frey, and he pay like for one node $1,000 monthly to make sure the infrastructure is good.
Wow.
So like he does make sure that it's
Yeah.
reliable.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
some
have
people,
this one.
yeah, I like here you can pay much less than that and still be fine. But
Yeah,
um,
like so my Juno Cosmos node is around $80 a month, and
yeah,
this is
okay,
like
that's what I've
good.
heard. Yeah.
Like we don't miss blocks, like nothing of this sort. This is good. Like this good
Yeah.
enough. If we go higher up the rank, like top 20, then it's like
Mhm.
probably the time to go further, because that's when you're starting to be serious. But if you're
Mm.
like at the place 129, which I am, like it's like I signed like 200 blocks on Juno or something in the past week. It's like,
Dude, congrats, man. That's sick.
yeah, yeah, like I'm getting there, like it's only a matter of time till I'm like number one.
Yeah,
um
no, you and Pupmost are gonna be like top of the charts.
do you know who it is or not?
Who Pupmost is?
Yeah,
Oh, I
I
have
know
no
some people
idea.
know. Yeah.
No, so my
um
my understanding is that people do not know. Like Pupmost is just like a legend, like just like
yeah,
totally anon, like, but like incredibly talented developer. Like the insane thing about Pupmost is like so funny and like super fucking weird. Like
yeah,
speaks dog, right? Like hilarious, right? But then also like super talented. Like solved this problem we were trying to figure out for Dada about like determining the amount of tokens staked from a smart contract. Like it's just like, oh, here it is working on this like super complicated like liquid staking thing that apparently is not like other liquid staking things that exist. They tweeted at me the other day. Is also like helping with like getting good wallet support for mobile on things, like just doing like amazing work. It's just like it's super cool. It's like really an achievement in like being a non, I think.
so you talented developer is saying that Patmos is very talented developer.
Oh yeah, I'm saying
Yeah.
Putmos is like a god. Putmos is everything I've seen suggests Putmos like seriously knows their shit, which is
if
sick.
that if that will be successful, because I had the feeling, and I did shield the Patmos early on, like but it's prolonged. So because it meant to be a meme, but if you read into his tweets early on,
Yeah.
like you knew he's very very thoughtful, and he's experienced not only as the developer, but he's also culturally experienced, and in the
Hmm.
experience in the internet, like internet culture. So
Yeah.
um there is this Godwin's law or something like this.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's Godwin's law. The longer the discussion goes on the internet, the chances that someone will mention Hitler approach one, right?
Okay.
So uh, there was some again chat about Prop 16, and then Pupmos said uh, it's a good pause law. The longer the discussion goes on the internet, the chances of mentioning Prop 16 approaching one. So
Right,
he
but that
has
does imply
this
like
kind of,
right,
so
like
he's
deeply embedded, you know? Like
yeah, so he is actually like really, I do like him. I know we have very different views on certain things, because from the on-chain data, but I do like him,
I'd
despite
love
that.
to hear more. I like totally don't what are like when you say different views, like are you talking about votes on governance proposals?
This is kind of different view, right?
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
um like, because Patmos has this view that Juno is not money, is the governance, right? Is the voting tokens.
Hmm.
But this is kind of like, yeah, we have this rhetoric. It's not money, so you shouldn't treat it that, but it has value denominated in dollars, so
Right.
that's, it kind of is the asset. um and if you will develop the economy around Juno, build more application, and Juno will be major driving force in this ecosystem. What is Juno? It's not just voting token. It's actually the major
Mhm.
driving token in the Juno economy. So saying Juno is just the voting token, I kind of disagree, because it's not just the voting token. It's the major fuel. It will be
Right. Well,
major fuel
you
for
needed to
DAO
pay
DAO.
fees, I guess. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
So of course, legally, you cannot really say it's money,
Yeah, it's like
and and
surprise, SEC.
and that brings also question, right? What is money? Like, I could
Yeah,
ask
no,
you,
I
what
think
is
like
money?
isn't the SEC is like currently probing Coinbase about that same question. It seems like
Yeah.
this what I understand is this like it really appears as if it's this like complete regulatory nightmare that like no one can possibly comply with about if these assets are securities and
Mm-hmm.
like I just think I this is like I was just reading about this in this Coinbase stuff, but it's like they recently charged to like three people I think with like a tipping scheme involving Coinbase. I don't know if you followed this, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe like this guy working at Coinbase was like giving
Yeah.
tips
Yeah.
on upcoming listings. Like someone on Twitter found it, um, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But so what was interesting about this case is like there was some like dozens is the word I read number of assets involved in this, and the SEC in their sort of charge, or the DOJ, I guess, in their or whoever the fuck, right? Like in their charge against these guys was like, we've determined like 9 of these dozens of assets are securities, and so
Yeah.
it's like okay, so some of these like tokens are like thus they're like not all tokens
Mm-hmm.
are securities by the purview of the SEC. Apparently, they could change their mind, but then like
Mm-hmm.
some are, and like it's unclear how to determine this. And then so then this next thing is now like Coinbase announces like, oh, we're getting a probe by the SEC because the SEC, I guess thinks that
Mm-hmm.
Coinbase may have listed securities. But I think at least I like really sympathize with Coinbase because I feel like they're in this regulatory environment that is like impossible to comply with, right? Like if the SEC like the current approach to the SEC seems to be like we're not going to have any rules, and we're just going to like arbitrarily litigate against people until like rules emerge. We're like they're like we don't know what we want to do, so instead we're going to make everyone's lives suck by like randomly suing people when we see things that look wrong, and then maybe after like a bunch of these lawsuits they'll like actually pass regulation or like provide like reasonably coherent guidance on what these things are. But until then it's just like I truly sympathize with the Coinbase folks.
Mm-hmm.
It like just seems like a not pleasant position to be in.
It,
Like,
it does seem, the more compliant you try to be, the more you expose yourself to troubles with SEC, right? But I
yeah,
also
I mean,
do
it's
think
just hard. Yeah, it's really hard to do.
But I do also think the SEC is not pushing that, like, not
No,
pushing that hard. Few years, like when they spoke, they said Bitcoin and Ethereum are not securities. They could
right.
say they are if they would want, because they have this power. But they I have also very positive views on United States, which is very unpopular these days, because I
I
do
think I
think
like. the U.S. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that statement.
They view these products and they see we can ban it and destroy the new growing technology, or we can take a step back, look at this, allow them to do it, but keep
Mm.
the eye on this. And you see, um, so sorry for taking your platform a little bit because
No,
this needs to be
this is
covered.
great. I loved hearing this. I like.
Um, it's like, Japan was quickly approaching economy, right? They were producing great computers and stuff, and then United States invented internet, and at first it
Mm,
was like nothing, and
right.
United States essentially dominated the internet, like they own the internet,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
um and now we are in the spot where China is banning crypto, all of that. But US is actually not. They know that it could be great technology. So US is still the
Yeah.
country which is probably the best for, maybe there are smaller countries that are better for crypto, but
I
US has the
think I
major
think
leading economy.
Europe and Canada actually has some pretty
Hmm.
sane laws around it. And I mean, obviously, like I work in the U.S. to get paid in crypto, and it's like fine. It's actually not that complicated.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, like yeah, it's a good point. Like I think you're probably right that they like don't want to cut it off. They want to let it mature. Um, yeah, but yeah, it makes working in it weird.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's like
And
weird.
it,
And
like US is messy, but it's still great place. It has still the great infrastructure in the Bay Area of great
yeah,
developers, and
I
that's the point, I guess.
yeah,
Um,
I love living in America. It's
I
it's
visited US first time this year.
oh really nice, cool.
I loved
Where
it.
did you visit? Did you visit California?
No, I'd love to go.
Dude, you got it,
I
you got it, you got it.
I
Come hang
visited
out with
New.
Dada, dude. If you came to the Bay, we could have a giant Don Kryptonon fan meetup.
do you, do you know how awkward it would be? Like imagine like 8 developers and on Kryptonium, and you would meet, and you guys talk stuff, and me wanting to like contribute in the
Yeah,
conversation, like would
dude,
ask you the question, what kind of coffee do you do you guys like, or something, trying to be
dude,
there.
we could make a 420 developers. Yeah, Win Cops got it.
Yeah. So I visited New York for two
Okay.
days where I met the Bad Kid, the founder.
Oh, nice.
I got the cards. Did you see? I have them in my wallet. Um, he gave me the cards, Bad Kid's cards.
There's bad kids.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. He had the cards, and I took two of them. Nice, right?
Dude, come on, man. I want one of those. That's sick.
I want him to make more because that's pretty cool to actually have them. I should find some spot for them, because I've been carrying them in a wallet for the time. But I went to US to marry with my current wife.
Oh,
To
nice.
Vegas.
Congrats. Man.
Yeah, thank you. Look at this there. Here's my wedding ring.
Dude,
I don't
nice.
really don't really keep that on my finger, but yeah. So we went to Vegas to marry because Vegas was the easiest place for us to marry. Once again, great place, United States, right? And I did really have time of like my life. Great coffee in Vegas, like
Really?
really good,
I'm having
So
some really good coffee too, So
yeah, nice Mac, really really good. And then we went to Mexico and
oh wow.
disappointed. This is like nah, I prefer US. I prefer the money. that
Yeah. uh,
that's
I
the
yeah, I read these two you know what Substack is?
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
really.
a way to read news, I guess. But I subscribe to
Mhm.
these two Substacks called Slow Boring and Noah Smith. And both of them, when they talk about like, oh, why is like what makes the US successful, it's typically just like Americans have like really incredible amounts of disposable income. So there's just like
Mhm.
it's kind of just money. And then you look at the Europeans, like where you guys are, and you have like really quite effective healthcare systems, um, and much better distribution and welfare systems, but in America, we're just like, no, just like, like this,
Yeah.
like, if you, it's really actually kind of sad. We don't do as good of a job at supporting people, I think, than Europe does in many ways. But the result is that there's just like shitloads of disposable income.
We should do meetup one day, actually, in California, if I'm there.
I'm
I
so
think it
down.
would be cool to do DAO or Juno, like developers with community. I think it would be really nice. Um, but yeah, I was surprised. So I come from Poland, which is not the wealthiest country in Europe, obviously. I used to live in other places. I actually lived 3 years in Hong Kong, going back to Hong Kong, which is rather wealthy, very wealthy.
Yeah.
And
You
I
really, you lived in Hong
imagine,
Kong for a while. That's cool, man.
yeah, yeah, my wife is from Hong Kong. That's why we had to, like, it was easier for us to marry in Vegas than in our countries. So, but
Oh,
and she
that's
left
why.
now, so I'm joining her because we got separated by COVID. I
Oh
used to live in
no,
Hong Kong. COVID started. I came to visit my parents, and then we couldn't meet
dude,
for 20 months because we're not married, and I didn't have Hong Kong ID.
that's
So this
horrible.
is
Oh my
this is
god,
actually, yeah, like 20 months long distance relationship.
that's like
It's
seriously like
crazy.
sad. That's dude. Wow, that
Yeah,
sucks. I'm sorry.
yeah. And imagine, like, I don't think many like marriages with 20 years like experience would survive that, but like it was fine. Like we chat every day
Dude,
on the,
true love,
so
man. True love
yeah,
wins.
I guess if you are a boring person, that's how it is, right? Like it's just every day the same, chat on the, FaceTime or something. And so this spring we went to US to marry, so like they cannot separate us if and I'm joining her soon because I wanted to stay in summer in Europe, because summer in Europe
Hmm.
is pretty nice.
So
But
you're moving to Hong Kong?
we might move out because she doesn't like politics anymore. Hong Kong changed a lot in
Uh,
the last 2 years,
yeah.
but the first time when I came, like, it's great place. Uh I have company registered in Hong Kong. The,
Oh, really?
that's why I actually started this channel. I was separated and bored in my parents' room, and I started making this. Um, but yeah, like from Europe, I was going and I was like, oh, probably the money stage of US is like UK or the Western Europe. It's not. It's
Oh, yeah.
it's the money, the it's so different. Like it has different vibe. The tips, like these very high
Mm.
tips, the flow of the money, like the liquidity. US has liquidity.
Yeah, well,
That's
it's really a lot of consumption. Yeah, I think it's like really this big
and
consumption economy.
yeah, and it's not like safety. Of course I feel safer in Europe, or I see way less homeless people in Europe, which is kind of this weird paradox. But
Yeah,
you
no,
say
it's really quite sad. It's really something I wish
yeah,
we did better at. It's just this huge disparity, and it's really. I think it would be. I think something to just think about is like how can we use these tools to not like that's like getting like returning to crypto here is like something that I like have some. I was initially really skeptical of crypto because I felt like
hmm
it really like financialized a lot of things that don't like we just like don't need more
hmm
financialization,
yeah,
like people are like actually suffering due to like lack of capital. And so it's like we don't, I think that's something to just like keep in mind as we like build things in this space is like how do we how do we do so while like promoting equity when we can,
yeah,
just like
just
hard.
just weird. Like the first day in Vegas, like you have still these billboards everywhere there. It's like,
Oh
are we
yeah,
in 80s? Like this was.
dude, I
Then I
hate
go to
billboards.
it
Holy
doesn't
shit.
exist, like it's so, and it was like, these billboards kind of Better Call Saul style. Did
Yeah,
you watch Better, like, from Breaking
no, I
Bad?
know what you're
Like this
talking
is
about.
this cheap lawyer style,
Right.
and
I
it's
mean,
like,
and
what the hell?
it's like visual pollution. Like I don't know why we're
Yeah,
chill with
yeah,
it. Like it's like, oh yeah, let's like just cram everyone's heads full of ads every time they leave the house. It's like why?
yeah,
Like just and like what's funny is so there's states in the U.S. like I have a
yeah,
whole thing about billboards. There's states in the U.S. like Vermont. that have just been like, you know what, like billboards, they fucking suck to look at. We're just gonna like ban them, you know. And so
Yeah,
like they did, and there's no more billboards in Vermont, and I hear it's great, you know. And it's like we could
yeah,
do that too in every other state, but you know, for some reason we're like okay with this like incessant pollution of
yeah.
advertising. It's really annoying.
I I don't think it's such a like beneficial venture for city to rent the billboards or whoever.
Yeah, I
So
don't
you
think
can
so
easily
either.
live without that. But you know, like you said, consumption driven economy, right? Which is United States, and I heard the sentence from one macro guy, uh, and he said, "Sentence is all roads lead to Rome, not all roads lead from Rome," which is like
Oh, from.
actually
Oh, interesting.
Rome.
Yeah, yeah,
All roads lead to Rome, not all
gotcha.
roads lead from Rome. If you want to have wealthy society, you have to have consumer base economy, which is like everyone wanted to go to Rome. You didn't hear the outflow of Rome, which is like China, right? Like this is like mainly
Mm,
production based economy and poor people. We devaluate yuan. We don't let them, like we just to
yeah,
keep competitive because we export and we make GDP numbers, while
yeah,
US we consume and we make people drive expensive cars.
yeah.
Like that's
I mean,
just
like, it is like an interesting question though, like to ponder. Like, does it like we're like really veering off here into like weird shit, but
yeah.
I think that like the prevalent that like I think there's like a lot of things that we kind of take like sort of like you've said like to the large extent. Maybe I don't really know much about the history of like the eastern section of the
Hmm.
world, but certainly like in where we live, like we sort of live in this world where we take for granted like oh like we need like we kind of like oh like yeah you know historically like the Europeans you know we like just came in and we just like slaughtered native populations, like destroyed these cultures and then replaced them with like our like super competitive violent like
Hmm.
hegemony, this like white hegemony. But you do wonder like I don't know, like maybe there are ways that we could do this better. Like like maybe we could live in a world where like we have really like small communities that are like sort of this anarcho-capitalist or anarcho-communist society with like small communities and little governance. And I don't know. I like hesitate to like I think often I see like economists being like, yep, like the only way to like do these like we just need to like make more money and like have more babies and like keep like growing the popular tax base so we can pay social security. And like I feel like that might be fair like practically speaking, but I like to like wax philosophical sometimes that like I don't know if the world needs to be like this. And I think there's you know before like Western
Well,
culture kind of like forced itself on the rest of the world, like there might have been alternatives, you know. I
yeah.
don't know. I'm like optimistic. That's kind of why I like to work on DAOs, is they feel a little bit like you
Hmm.
know like like I don't know, little groups of people organizing money and having governance and like building good tools for that. Like maybe we can escape this like current system of like crippling bureaucracies, like these like giant faceless bureaucracies taking everything over. So I
Yeah.
like I think we can do it, man. I think there's like a world where like we don't have to have this sort of stuff.
Yeah. I
But
think the truth is, yeah, we love money. Everyone love money, but also we probably do not need money. Like we don't need that excessive wealth to live well.
I think
Absolutely.
so too, and that's true like statistically as well. Like you like again like rambling a little bit, but like this is like the you know most popular fun fact ever. You know like oh if you like look at look at like happiness as a function of wealth, like you hit like you know this a certain number I think like 70
Hmm.
grand, but like sure like inflation's probably changed that like and it's kind of like stops mattering you know and you're like
Yeah.
okay like I can like do my Maslow's hierarchy and like I can sleep, I can eat, like I can have romantic partners, and then like once you get there like cool. Like we don't need to like keep like hoarding wealth, you know, or like
but then it's
uh,
also like very how you stop this cycle, right? Because you cannot just stop
oh, it's
people
so hard.
because
Yeah.
the urge, and it seems like forever, like from like modern times, we're always from like going forward and developing, which also was creation of wealth. Like the economy
Yeah.
grows all the time, which is kind of this like weird cycle. Yeah, we hit the point when it's enough,
Mm.
but maybe it's not. We still try to develop technologies that will like speed up our
Hmm.
you know c- f- so if I would be in relationship with my wife in like 90s, we would write letters. The
Right.
life quality wasn't that different, probably.
Right. I mean, presumably medicine's improved, but yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
you have if you don't suffer from like a chronic
so
illness, like
so okay, so then like okay, so now medicine improved, and is it improving due to the wealth
mm,
creation, which is
yeah, I
mainly
see what you're saying.
because US also like is the on the forefront of the biotechnological
Yeah,
development.
that's yeah, right. That's a good question
So
because certainly
is
medicine being a great example of that, of where we
yeah.
like the U.S. has these like really kind of insane expense. You know, it spends really kind of insane amounts of money on healthcare, but we do, you know, produce really a large proportion of worldwide drug research.
Hmm.
And so I don't know. I think honestly, I think my answer is like, how do we fix this? How do we break this cycle? Because you're right, it's kind of a cycle. Is like open source, man. We just gotta like open source everything. Like all our code's got to be on GitHub. We gotta like have. I don't know, man. I think we got like DAOs and open source software, and we can like break this cycle and just have like tons of open knowledge and free to use shit, and like people that do things. We like, I don't know, like make sure everyone gets taken care of, and then like real value comes from like what I love about DAO is not that I like get paid well to work on it. It's that like I like enjoy when people are like in the
Hmm.
Discord using it. You know, like that's really like the ultimate satisfaction is like producing something that like people use and like.
Uh-huh.
And I think like we can I think open source can like let us separate that from like sort of incessant like need to make money. Like if it's you know if it's closed source, like the software is really like exists
Hmm.
to make money, but you know if you open source it and people fork it and those people like it, you're still happy. You know, like the incentive system is set up such that like other people can use your thing and you still feel like get a lot of like personal value and feel important. Like I read that people really like to feel important, and so like yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
open source everything.
This is the question, right? Like you get the and Kara said, like you get to the certain level and it's good. And is the and thinking of others, so is the so that would be kind of what was her name? Um the the lady, she wrote the she's popular among libertarians. She hated like altruism, like she famous for that.
I
Um
don't know. This is um, who's the one?
uh
Naomi Klein? No, it's not.
um uh, philosophy of individual, no. um I will get back to her, but oh
And
yeah, someone said it, like you see,
oh,
beautiful.
nice.
So
The people in the
and
chat
she
know.
yeah, so like that doesn't it like align with it, like because actually like we are, yes, philosophy of objectivism. So
Hmm.
I'm so her claim was, I'm not saying, I'm just like trying to feed the conversation. So yeah, like we live comfortably and we're like, hey, it's enough. But there is sort of like this your individual, like the way you are designed, maybe also as a human, which is already outside of her philosophy, that you don't really care of others. You just like want to go forward, improve yourself, and only care about your closest cycle, right? Which
Yeah.
is and with that, if we would go like with more of the caring, maybe that's against like how humans were designed. I don't know how the humans were designed, right? But there is um
Yeah.
but you could read the biological books that actually were like, there's another book about the selfish gene, that actually
Oh,
the
sure.
gene.
I've not heard
Yeah,
of this,
yeah.
but yeah, yeah. I probably believe that like it would make sense to evolve to be like,
Hmm.
well, certainly we evolved communally, but I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if we're,
So
but
Dao Dao. Hmm.
oh yeah, we should talk
Go
about
on.
that
No, go on.
now.
No,
Well,
it's fine.
my closing point is like I wonder um like like how so then like I think like like thinking trying to frame open source in the subjectivism thing like so say we are inherently selfish, right?
Hmm.
Probably fine, probably a fine assumption. Like then like it seems like then we want to like produce systems where like I receive value in like whilst producing value for others, and then I can like selfishly get
Hmm.
value, and then other people also benefit. I feel like open source is like that, you know. I if I
Well,
write really good software and people tell me they like it, I feel good. And I'm like, oh nice. But then also other people get to use free cool software. So
uh, that's really cool. I would call this the purest form of capitalism. Which is like, I it maybe would make many people, I don't know, maybe we can do it. Like maybe we can. Would you come again in the future and let's do
yeah,
DAO one day? Like just design the DAO, like any DAO. It
that'd be
doesn't have
sick.
to
That'd be a
be
fun one.
assigned
Yeah.
with any ideology, but the test DAO.
We could make
I
one.
feel.
We could do staking rewards. We could do a bunch of weird shit. We could make a
Yeah,
really cool
yeah.
DAO.
So you are coming back,
Okay,
because
it's sick.
um so that would be cool, because some people believe that actually in capitalism, if the battery runs out, I will go on the laptop
Oh,
battery.
nice,
It's
cool.
fine. It's just like
You
too
got it. You
much.
got a backup. You're a pro streamer.
I should get another battery, or the like kind of plug, so it doesn't go off. um so many people believe that in pure capitalism you cannot get monopolies, because the power is in people, and they but we got the system where we build monopolies, like let's say these massive institutions like Facebook. And what if DAO like is essentially this, which is like would upset maybe people with like other
Yeah,
ideology, right? Like what if the DAO will be the purest form of capitalism, where you as the person could create very competitive, profitable institution, and essentially like there is no just these major institutions competing, but there's like millions of people competing against each other all the time, and it will like just like create this wild west of
yeah. Well,
greed,
they could be working together
capitalistic
too.
greed, right?
Yeah. My like dream for DAO DAO is like that. Like as it grows, we like get a couple like really cool DAOs on it. We already have a few,
Hmm.
and then eventually, like the dream of DAO DAO would be like it just becomes like this really beautiful open source project that is like developed by its users, and so it
Hmm.
becomes like we can hopefully avoid the whole like Facebook style like can eat everything, make as much money as possible, and just like do well. So
Hmm.
yeah.
um So like the DAO is this like small community. I think it aligned with some Cosmos vision of this like localism, right? Because I feel the
Mm.
DAO could work. It's hard to imagine for me that DAO could work for such a big institution like United States.
I
But
think
I
it's
can
gonna take a while. I think we can do it, but
so
yeah,
this is the question, like how you could make DAO serve for big institution as United States, because like for now there is like quite direct voting. So for small institution it works. There is
mm,
this small
yeah,
areas in Switzerland, they use this direct democracy, like it's but
no, yeah. These are
how
good
you can
questions.
how you can design the DAO that has very diverse community
Yeah,
of like because now DAOs, like we could say that they are diverse, but it's mainly developer communities, right? So which
Yeah,
I, but if you have the communities with very different work backgrounds, racial backgrounds,
yeah,
religious backgrounds on anything, and how you manage such a massive DAO that it could get adopted, like that United States could be a DAO.
yeah. So I think the first thing like we need to do is we need vote delegation.
Hmm.
So we need the ability to like delegate voting power to other people. Because like yeah, like you said, like and we already see this in raw DAO, like it's like uh participating in governance is complicated. And like
Hmm.
I think really like what delegation allows you to do is say like I don't want to participate in the minutia of governance, but I'm going to cast my vote by delegating my voting power to someone I think by and large agrees with me.
Hmm.
Um, and then an important feature of delegation is it needs to be like super liquid. So you should effectively be able to like constantly redelegate, similar to basically how the Cosmos has. Actually, this is basically how the Cosmos SDK does things. I think they do a
Hmm.
really good job. You should be able to constantly redelegate, and you should be able to vote. You should be able to override the vote of the person you delegate to. So again, like Cosmos SDK, if I delegate, so on MakerDAO actually, I actually own Maker token. I own 0.5 Maker token, and I delegate to this Hasu guy, who I think is cool, which I like. I think it's important that I am able, if there is a vote that my delegate votes on that I disagree with, it's important that I'm able to overrule that vote.
Hmm.
And so I think that's one way we scale is with delegation. And then the other way we do it is with sub DAOs. So, you know, we like any, like, we don't like the word committee, but we, you know, you do need to like split this stuff out. And so I think like if we can get really good support from vote delegation and we can get really good support for sub DAOs, then I think we like begin to move in the direction of like having the components that you could build really complex governance structures with. And our current contracts have that. Another thing is like we need to figure out like I think we can experiment with like how do we like incentivize voting. So like the naive way is staking rewards.
Hmm.
I actually don't like staking rewards. I
Hmm.
think they incentivize staking, but they don't actually incentivize participation. So the DAO contracts actually support the ability to do incentivized voting. So we
Hmm.
could down the line experiment with like literally paying people to vote. Um, and so I think like that's tricky. Like it's a hard thing to do, and like how do you make that not gameable? But I think that's like one area we should experiment with, and especially like so MakerDAO like pays delegates. I think that's like good. So like, how do we like pay people to be really active voters and really active researchers?
Sorry, can I does MakerDAO pays for voting?
Well, so MakerDAO, my understanding is that delegates, the people you delegate to, get some amount of money,
Okay.
effectively as a
How?
way to like. I don't actually know the mechanism to be honest, and I could be totally wrong. I think I've just read this, and if not, they should. I think that you know you should like. It's like I think that like a representative democracy is probably like a
Hmm.
reasonably efficient democracy, and you know it's
Hmm.
important that you pay your representatives so they can do voting full time. So
Hmm.
I think these are like really tricky design questions because like when we're designing something for DAO, we can't just be like, what's our use case? Like if we were just going to do this, we could like come up with some like come to some level of social
Hmm.
consensus and then just like build it. But what we're building for DAO has to be like work for everyone. And so we need to like figure out like what are like the fundamental components of like delegating a vote, paying delegators, paying people to vote, and then how do we make that tunable via UI, and then let people tune that to whatever social consensus they
Hmm.
reach. So I think like there's definitely technical work to be done there, but we have all the pieces in place to be able to
Yeah.
do this. Um,
Um, I wonder if Maker, because Maker does like it's lending protocol, right? If I'm correct, lending borrowing
right.
protocol.
Well,
Um,
yeah, it lets you it mints the DAI
it
stablecoin,
means the die, yeah,
and
but it's
it
also, yeah.
right under the hood you like lock collateral in a vault. and then
Hmm.
receive die out,
Hmm.
which is effectively the mechanism by which like over collateralized loaning works.
Yeah, so I wonder like what is the profit they have if this profit is distributed to um
Yeah, yeah. I should
to
actually
the
read about
people.
this. I'm like, I I really like MakerDAO. I think they do a good job of things, and I think yeah, I should read about more of the details about how vote delegation works there.
It's
Um,
probably one of the best example of the DAOs.
oh,
Um,
absolutely.
I
I love MakerDAO. Yeah.
like recently there was some announcement. I constantly read about Maker. They do develop a lot, and I want to ask you here, because with the value, right? For me, the um voting rights is maybe voting rights is uh voting governance is no value, like to me,
Yeah, I was actually thinking you might bring this up, and I'm curious in what your thoughts are. Yeah. So continue.
because
Yeah.
um I do believe that people are selfish enough to not really care of the outcome of the voting if it's not important enough to affect their life. So of course you can vote for the president of your country because this will affect your life.
Mm,
But if this doesn't sufficiently affect your life, so you have raw
yeah.
DAO, there is some voting about like some liquidity
Right.
pools. It doesn't really change your
Mm,
life because you don't really, whatever you vote, the outcome of the votes will not affect you financially because you
right.
don't profit financially anyway from holding DAO, and
Right.
in just speculation, right? So the value might, but you don't really get the. So to me, the simple fact that you can vote or not is not enough value, and many people do consider like that,
Yeah.
like the DAO tokens are very popular. So how you can actually bring value maybe to like or maybe
Yeah.
you think the governance is value, but like for like
No.
how you
Yeah.
say.
I think
Mhm,
you have a good point. I think like you actually really put it well. I've not thought about it that way. Of like governance is valueless if it doesn't produce if it doesn't directly impact you.
mhm,
Um, so like two thoughts. Like I think like if I was a um, if I was someone who wanted, say, Juno Swap did, or I mean, let's like say, for example, like with DAO, like say I was a user of DAO. Now DAO governance has value to me, I think, because I can, you know, uh, like I want control. I want agency over the platform I'm running my DAO on. But if I'm not a user, I agree with you that it doesn't make sense.
mhm,
Another way that like we do this with stocks to get around this is like paying dividends. I
mhm,
actually wrote a dividends contract. So yeah, I agree that governance by itself is probably not that valuable unless it directly impacts you, which is a pretty small scope. So these tokens
mhm,
are, like you say, like probably speculative. But I think we can like improve that by like paying dividends to token holders. I think like
mhm.
that's sort of how like traditional organizations do with their shares, which are voting shares effectively, is you hold them
Yeah.
because you think that eventually this company will pay dividends to shareholders or buy back shares.
Mhm,
And so I think like that, yeah, that's probably how you make these things have value, is the same way that like we already do in the existing system, which is by like paying token holders when the protocol does well, I think.
mhm.
Um,
That's also
yeah,
interesting because
tricky question.
I
Yeah.
I kind of agree, but I was giving more thoughts to it.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
like um but anyway, there was you said you wrote the dividend contract. By the way, probably it cannot be called dividend because that could make this token security
Yeah,
somehow,
probably not.
which
Yeah,
is
I shouldn't say that. A contract that pays out money proportional to your voting power.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Um there was voting recently on raw DAO, like which I'm not really part of, but it was to remove 14 days and bonding
I saw
period,
that. Yeah.
and it didn't go through. I think it people refused that.
Yeah.
But because I had chat about this dividend like paying out to the like swap fees to the people or to DAO treasury, and then you can
Yeah.
distribute or
Yeah.
reinvest that. and you kind of can't do it because there's contract for 14 days unbonding. So if you would add this kind of swap fees going to the DAO treasury, people would have to wait 14 days to unbond. So if they would vote to change unbonding period to zero, they could easily do changes to the contract later, right? But because they didn't do it, they kind
Mm.
of remove this
Well,
chance from themselves.
yeah. So actually, this is like a technical detail, but we actually can
Hmm.
do for some pools, we can do that migration without unbonding people.
How about
Um,
for like Juno US
I
USDC,
think I
please?
think Juno USDC is one of the pools we
Oh,
can't do that with,
this
or actually,
or
or
this one
certain.
can because this is new one.
Oh
Or
yeah, any of the pools made after RawDAO was created, we
yeah.
can do an upgrade to without requiring people to
Hmm.
remove from the
Yeah.
pool.
So
So, but yeah,
so
it
this
is a
few
good point that the migration's tricky for the older pools.
so these few points, I was like, oh, maybe voting like actually yes to shorten, so you can do changes quickly, and then you can go back would be wise. But people refuse that. But then again, okay, sorry, camera out. I
Plunged
I'll,
into darkness.
I could say I wasn't prepared right. In this one, it's not that great, but I think it's good enough. Um, so the other concept, like Uniswap, I think Uniswap doesn't pay anything to DAO holders as well.
Mm.
It's just the worthless token, kind of. But people like to speculate on that, and maybe I'm wrong. Like I mean,
Yeah,
if
I have no
but I don't
idea.
think you can do anything with Uniswap. Like with Unitoken, I don't think you can do anything. So the problem is people are greedy. People love dividends. But if you are in a startup phase, you actually need
Yeah.
money to reinvest.
No, exactly. Yeah, so you
So this
wouldn't pay
is
it out. Right.
so this is another problem because let's say you want the DAO to be profitable. So you put the tax on the swap fees on the Juno swap, and then the
Mm.
money go move to raw DAO treasury, so raw DAO can continue development.
Mm.
But because it's DAO, someone can put the prop, distribute the funds to the
Yeah.
users,
Yeah.
and the traditional startup world doesn't have this problem because like we are not giving money to anyone. We actually
Yeah.
get money, we borrow even more money, and we reinvest everything, which
Yeah.
is like
No, yeah, um I think airdrops are probably not an effective way to do governance
mhm, mhm,
because of this. Um, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I don't like airdrops.
yeah.
I don't think
um
people should do airdrops, or at least if you do an airdrop, you should be very careful about how you do it.
yeah, I was actually speaking like I think maybe tweeting that the season for airdrops will finish soon. It was 1 year
Yeah,
of airdrops, and that's probably it.
yeah,
We realize, hey, it's not actually perfect.
no. And
So
I feel like I see this shit like all of these. I shouldn't say it. I shouldn't be so negative, but like
yeah, go on.
I just see a lot of projects that are like token, 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 token. And I'm like,
Hmm.
win product, win thing. Like
Look,
like
what's the great. Go on.
like build a product and then if you need governance over it, make a DAO. But it's not like I don't know. I feel like the way to like really make money is by producing value in the world. Like that's like the
Hmm.
good way to do it. That's the way
Hmm.
I think I want it. Like I don't want to just like make money off speculation. That feels gross. But I
Hmm.
want to make money by like bringing value to people. And so like
Hmm.
I think token shit just like people need to relax a little bit. Like
Yeah, yeah. There's a great project in the blockchain world that has no token and was very successful and profitable company, and it's MetaMask, which is a great
oh yeah,
example. You don't need a token to be great company, and
yeah, exactly.
and it's company, it's centralized structure. They just
Yeah,
didn't, because for this business model, maybe having a DAO wasn't the best choice. And so you don't have
yeah,
to go this way, and you don't have to be a DAO if you do crypto. You still
yeah,
can go like you still can build Web3 and bring the product. I think, because
Yeah.
and especially in the cosmos, it's like if there is venture capitalist involved, I don't touch it. But maybe for some companies, this could be
Yeah.
better route of
Yeah.
development because maybe the
No,
product,
seriously. Yeah.
so
Yeah. 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 Like DAO is a DAO, will be a DAO, and it's a careful game for exactly these reasons that you're talking
mhm.
about. It's like it's a really doing it right. I think takes a lot of like nurturing of the community and care that you have correct incentives and yeah, it's hard. And so yeah, I think to your point, like probably more projects should just like raise venture capital and make a product, like or
Yeah,
just make a product and like ignore this token shit. It's just gonna like be distracting, take a huge amount of time. It's hugely complex. It's legally complex. Don't do it.
yeah. Just
Like
some, like, of course it makes sense for like some projects to have token, especially if there's like layer ones, right? Like, so
yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
whether you do community driven or not, probably both have their place, right? Juno is community driven, and you need the token for that, kind of, because um well,
yeah,
I don't know, I guess you need, maybe like you don't actually, like I said that, but it makes sense for this sort of project. I think there are platforms that exist that didn't do token, right? But you can
yeah,
actually develop application on that.
yeah,
um
yeah.
Going
So
back. Mhm.
no, go ahead. Yeah, tricky game. It's all like really hard. It's,
Like, I feel that Juno is such a great spot because since the Prop 16
oh yeah,
happened, the the ideas that I heard from people building DAO are so incredible. And I think if not Prop 16, that would never happen.
no.
Like
Prop 16
this,
was super important because we gotta like get into like
yeah,
we're gonna Gino's gonna be sick because we're just gonna like weird shit. Like we're just like gonna do the coolest governance ever, and just like that's really what this is about. And Prop 16, I felt like was like the beginning of that. We're like, yo, like what
yeah,
if we use governance to like fix problems on chain? And everyone's like,
yeah,
wait, we can do that? It's like, yeah, we can. And now that we've figured out we can do it, like it opens up all the doors. It's like
yeah.
we can do anything. If we took $150 million from a guy, like the world's our oyster here. Like,
Then I look like, hey, you can do everything, and it's like, can we kill the guy? And it's like, what? What? It's like, hey, yeah, you can,
well,
like, like, of
yeah,
course, it's stupid example, but I mean,
right. But
like,
it puts some
that,
thought on it that like there is some seriousness. Like to my point earlier, I don't know if we were recording when we were talking about this, but like you being critical and like critiquing governance on Twitter is like really important because I think when you think about it, like we're really like if you like this sounds cheesy, but like if you hold and stake Juno, you're like really making like meaningful governance decisions that like have impacts on people's lives. Like Juno not money or Juno money. To your
yeah.
point, it's denominated in U.S. dollar. There's a value, like, and this like stakers control that, right? And so
Mhm.
it's like,
It was like, I would get like, why do you even validator? You only hate on Juno. You don't
right,
agree with
but it's
us.
like
Why you
good. Like you should hate
like
on Juno, right? Like we
this is
need
like,
people to do that
and I want to
desperately.
say, this is why I'm validator, because uh I want to openly disagree on things with
Yeah.
some. Of course, my voting power is nothing. I'm pretty sure because I got massive delegation from Jacob, from Notional.
Oh, nice.
So I'm pretty sure he vote himself. So basically, my validator has no vote,
Oh, sure. Right. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So I want the delegators who are not active.
Right.
That's the
Right. No.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's actually the perfect.
Yeah. Right. I'm probably
Like,
the worst delegator because I vote on everything. Yeah.
um, if if validators are representative and you think you matter, you want delegators who don't care about governance because you want the power, like you want
Oh,
your vote
interesting.
to be meaningful, right? So
Maybe. Or if I delegated to you, maybe I would just like have enough faith in your decision making that I would just stop voting and spend more time on my life.
you could miss the airdrop, which is another like kind of bad thing because I
Oh
think
yeah.
um
airdrops, dude. God damn.
because that brings again like people then vote, but they vote like maybe on the probes that they don't think at all.
Yeah,
They would create maybe more wallets just to like
yeah.
spam the votes, or maybe they vote certain way because they think, hey, an important person is involved in this voting,
Mhm.
they might reward us, right? So like
Yeah,
it also brings this other issue.
yeah. No, and this is like returning to what I was saying earlier about like how do we
Mhm.
design systems to like pay people to vote? It's like really hard for like exactly this reason.
Yeah,
But it's like
tell me, what's according to Ekez or Zeke, what's the best political system? that's kind of personal question existing according to you.
I think probably the Europeans. I think probably it's something like a welfare state that is like practically speaking, like in our lifetimes, it's probably like a capitalist country with really good welfare programs and really good public
Hmm.
transit.
Hmm.
Um,
Few
ideally,
countries.
I don't know. I
Mhm.
have like anarcho-communist tendencies. I
Mhm.
like, but no, I mean, realistically speaking, you know,
It's
we live
funny,
in a
like
society.
I would say like anarcho-capitalist and you are like anarcho like communist, which is like
Yeah. No, I mean,
they
yeah,
uh in Hong Kong, I remember when, because I always view this kind of like Hong Kong aligned with this like very capitalist society, actually,
yeah.
with huge monopolies. Actually, it's like monopoly society. Like the real estate is known owned by five tycoon families.
Right. I've
Um,
read this. Yeah.
so
Insane.
the protest started and the chaos was so strong, like no one knew like what to be the political protest, right? So suddenly you had like no traffic lights, no, there was like the police marching,
Mm,
like attacking groups of people, and you had like burning beans, sorry, yeah,
yeah.
beans like burning, and everything was like trashed, and you could walk in the middle of the street, and on the side the businesses were unharmed, they still operated, and I was like,
Oh,
this was
interesting.
such a there was really moments of anarchy. The buses were driving without the traffic light, without anything,
Huh.
because they still actually operated, but everything was trashed on the way.
That's
It was like
funny.
and it was like I
Right, it's like
kind
do
of,
all this rebellion, but like keep the businesses safe or something.
it
Like
was so crazy because it feels bad because it was chaos, right? And it was like actually protest was the cause of the kind of voice against certain
oh yeah,
political
yeah,
powers, against
yeah,
like China and stuff. But at the same time, in the
yeah.
moment you
China's
got this, yeah, in the moment you got this kind of anarchy feeling when you marched because the protest just finished and it's like 11 p.m. You
oh
walk in the
geez.
center of the street, you turn and go for like, I don't know, like some noodle or something like this,
Right.
and
Wow.
you enter inside and it's just
Oh man, that's
little
unreal. That's
restaurant, it's fine.
unreal.
So
That's
this
so
was the
weird.
like this
Were
was
you
the
in Hong
weirdest.
Kong during the protests?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
They actually started when I was there.
Holy cow, man.
I was very present. I took my camera and went to,
Whoa, nice. Good man.
yeah. I can even find one of the, so I have the first day of the protest, and so I think this was first day of the protest. Like, yeah, nine. I think it was 9 of June. So like the first day was like the over million people marching. Then was another, and then was the Wednesday. I remember, and this was the Wednesday. Do I sure the Wednesday was the,
Oh my gosh, these are beautiful photos.
thank you. So like you see
Huh.
like massive people, and it's like Hong Kong, of course, the tall buildings, and it was the
Wow.
first day that the police used the gas.
Jeez, man.
So the umbrellas, the drop-in umbrellas, is to protect yourself from the like
Yeah.
gas and water. So this was the first day that actually. And look, this is this so this is actually the clerkman. You see the cross, and
Oh
he's
wow.
taking selfie in the this, so
Yeah.
then it like went a little bit. Oh, this is so this is when this kind of feeling of anarchy, right? Just past the
Oh,
protest, this is
interesting.
the
All these people in
streets,
the streets.
and
Wow.
you walk wherever you want. It's all empty. This was
Wow.
such a crazy feeling, like,
Yeah, it's surreal, dude.
like everyone was gone. And oh, this was so this man on this wheelchair, he played some music. There's like people, like, this is main road in Hong Kong Island, and this guy just driving in this wheelchair in the middle of the street and playing music. And like,
What a
seriously.
surreal
Or
experience.
people this taxi, like, right, this is trash taxi. So yeah, there was few of this kind of, it did give you, like, maybe boring to show it, like, that's
No, no,
personal,
that's
but yeah,
fascinating.
like, um but yeah, it was there. And now, like, we're thinking, so maybe my wife will move to Poland. We'll see um how it's gonna end. I wanted to ask you, actually, I should probably start from it. um how did you get to Juno? Like, were you involved
Okay.
in the blockchain before?
Now we can finally
um
start the regular interview.
yeah, yeah, like,
um,
because it's quite like, you are not core you're not co-founder, you like just hop, like,
just regular,
you
regular guy, regular dude.
so is it you found Juno because it aligned with what you believe, or you just like found this cool development that you want to participate in, or
Yeah,
and
yeah,
maybe you join, you can tell if you were in crypto before and stuff, and you
yeah.
were
So I
doing
actually
something.
wasn't. I had like never
Mhm.
owned cryptocurrency before I started working on Juno. Because I had like briefly done written like some Solana smart contracts. So I was doing some
Mhm.
performance measurements. Um, I don't know. I think before Juno, I was like pretty skeptical of the industry. I felt like it was pretty gross. But then
Mhm.
I like actually watched Jake Hartnell talk at Berkeley. I went to Berkeley for school,
Mhm.
and they were talking about DAOs, and I felt like DAOs had roots in like really interesting ideology, and like not in like really just trying to financialize everything. And so I felt that was like really compelling. Like I think DAOs are really about like a really trying to do like an interesting social experiment in governance, and like trying to figure out like,
Mhm.
can we do better than the giant faceless bureaucracy that we like constantly have to deal with? And so that was kind of what sold me on Juno. It was just like I felt like there was an interesting experiment in governance happening here, and I was like, I want to be doing that because I don't know, I don't like bureaucracy. I find it
Mhm.
really annoying. So yeah, that's my journey. And then I just like
When
did work and
yeah,
eventually became a job.
did, did you speak with everyone from Juno, or you don't have contact with this some people, or just
What is everyone from Gina? You're part of Gina. Uh, uh, I don't know. I don't know. No, I think I mostly talk to Jake.
right? I'm community, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Validator on Juno.
like Gina
Validator.
doesn't. Yeah,
Such an
you're about you're
important
as good as it
piece.
gets. I don't know. Gina doesn't have like a you know a like a
Um,
company behind it. So
are they people? Have you met some people with extreme views on, like,
um,
or maybe with like totally opposite views on Juno, and they built one product? It
I
could be
don't know.
political views.
Yeah, I don't know if I've really like talked to many. I think that like I
Mhm.
mostly spend time on DAO, and the people in there are normally pretty like ideologically aligned, I think. um, yeah, I think every interaction I've had with governance and with people has been pretty positive. I think it's like a really interesting. I think it's like this beautiful, weird community. Honestly, it's just like a ton of cool people, like Tendermint
Yeah.
Timmy. I don't know if you ever had them on here. Like great
Is
guy.
he now
Super.
DAO? Yeah, like I didn't know he's developing anything. I didn't know he's
Yeah,
developer or
he's
stuff like
working
this.
on this Spark IBC thing, which is like a educational and fundraising
Right.
project for things.
Were you into Cosmos or not?
No, I
Or
didn't even know. I
or
actually don't even. I don't own any current cryptocurrencies other than Juno. Like I truly just like don't like. I don't find them interesting. I find like, especially, I don't know. I don't
but you
really. I
find
find
Juno
out.
interesting. You were a Solana developer.
Well, I
You
dabbled in Solana mostly to just prove that I disliked it. To
yeah.
be honest.
So you own Juno because you think that Juno will be. I guess I mean there is no reason to own it if you don't think that Juno will be leading blockchain project.
Like it. Well, I think I owned Juno. I like participating in governance. I like work on Juno, so I think governance does have value to
You
me.
like to vote. The
Yeah, I
voting
like to
for you.
vote. Yeah, voting has
The
value to me
vote.
because I'm a user of the blockchain. Yeah,
Hmm.
so
Um, Interesting.
yeah, I don't. I yeah, I don't know. I try not to like think of cryptocurrency as like too much of a speculative asset. I try to
Hmm.
think of it as like a tool, and I think that's
Yeah.
like I pay
Um,
gas fees with it. I like doing that.
you also engage in the Stargaze. But are you aligned with like the because I know there were three people, Shane, Jake,
and Jorge, I think.
one other guy from the like actually the core development, if we can call it
Yeah.
this way. So you joined that team or you contributing more of?
I'm just doing some work on we want to do NFT DAOs.
Mhm.
So we could have like a bad kids DAO if we wanted. Could be fun.
Could you lead that DAO maybe? I mean, like why not?
No,
Like,
yeah, why not? We could just make one. It could be more than one, but
oh,
we want
maybe
these things.
not lead, but you can make one. You can easily talk
Yeah,
to the founder and like, hey, I'm actually working on Stargaze. I like bad kids. I'm gonna make DAO because in a way you have as many votes as you have bad kids, I guess. So
yeah, we'd
right.
be whales, man. We'd be whales. Um, yeah. I so anyway, we want to be able to do that, but in order to do that, you have to be able to send NFTs across chains. You have to do
Mm-hmm.
IBC NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
And so because DAO and Stargaze want that, and Jake works on both, we're just working together on getting it
Mm-hmm.
shipped. So just yeah, I mean Stargaze is great. They're like really smart.
So
Clearly
you
like
do
really
like
smart, talented people over there.
I I met Shane and he's like I tell you there is few like I can shield the people like it's not nice to say having favorites, of course now you are one of my favorites, but
Okay, for sure.
but um Jake Hartnell, Shane, and the Fray
Oh
from
yeah.
Juno, it's like they just easy, like they're just nice people, you know what I mean. Like I went to Prague and I started
Oh
chatting
nice.
with Jake Carnell and he was like nice enough to be next to me and chat for like 1 hour or something, and he seemed tired but he was like
No,
really open, you know.
Jake's an amazing guy, dude. It's
Yeah,
inspiring, like in his ability to like talk to
such a
people. Yeah.
such a good heart, and he doesn't get angry like I do get angry
Mm.
sometimes, but he just doesn't,
You gotta
you
be
know.
Zen,
Like
man. You gotta be one with the Tao.
I
Just
don't know what's wrong with the guy, but he is like, and I heard he's like nearly like full crypto. He leaves crypto. You know, he does he even have bank account? You
I
know,
have
or
no idea. I
but
mean, yeah,
so relaxed.
he works hard,
And
man. He's
yeah,
amazing. He works really hard.
and Shane is also like really really super nice. He's been nice to me, so like I'm just like, hey, these people are nice. I have good feelings, so I say this is good project. You know, like
Yeah,
and other NFTs you like on Stargaze
dude, only bad kids. I'm not gonna lie.
on the bucket. Yeah,
Yeah. What about
it's
you?
very. So I was only bad kids. I have like a lot of them. I mean a lot. I don't know, like one. Not sure who consider a lot, but I did mint it a lot, and I thought not enough. This the story was like, I actually, the first time I saw the bad kids drop the minting, I was like, it's a joke. It's someone like draw it just to like sell it. It's
Oh,
shit. And I
interesting.
minted one, I think maybe three, because they were cheap. And then like the next day I'm looking at them and I'm like, no, it's actually so cool. The
Yeah.
page, like the and I started minting. So I did mint it in like few wallets, max out. And
Oh, nice. Nice.
yeah. So and then my friend gave me more because I minted for him
Oh,
on
nice.
because he didn't know like how to. He was like, oh, just spend all my like
Just spend all my money.
yeah, I managed like a few of his wallets, like because he didn't want to
You
use.
manage his wallets.
It was like I was shilling him Juno, right? I was like, and he was like, I don't want to use Kepler, use for me, you will get like 40% of staking rewards.
Mm.
And it wasn't big amount, but then the rewards was sold and I kept some Stargaze, and he was like, just spend some Stargaze on the bad kids.
Oh, nice.
So because told him like, look what a cool NFT, and he was like, just mint it. um and then he was like, oh, you can have them all actually.
Dude, hell yeah.
So I shouldn't say I manage wallet for someone, right? Because it makes me custodian now.
Yeah, no, no, it's just like such a crazy like statement. Like, oh, I manage their wallet. Like,
I didn't know how to say. He didn't want to use Kepler, and I
oh,
was
right.
like,
No,
you
I mean, it
should
makes
buy
sense.
Juno.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, I pay you. No, I think even have 50, no, 40. And he was, you stake it for me, you get like 40% of staking rewards. I was
Oh, no,
okay.
you're doing him a service. You're
Yeah,
staking for
it's
him. You're like a centralized
yeah. He
exchange or
lost
something.
like it was at first it was shit, but then he lost everything in the Luna collapse.
Oh
So
no.
and the stake Juno was the last money. So
Oh
yeah, it
man,
went back. I don't manage money for anyone. I'm not custodian. I'm only having my Juno now. But yeah, that was the.
nice.
That was. I really feel bad that I did this statement and disclose that. It's
I don't.
like
I think you're fine.
it would be worse if like I just manage credit cards for my friend, right? It's like this is illegal, I think. But
I have no idea.
um I actually, so beyond Bad Kids, I learned to like the other artist. Sin, she did the Stargaze Punks, which I like, not the biggest
Mm,
fan. But she's very talented, and like this
yeah,
is like I like her as the artist, right? So um she have this other pixel art, like just like look like a Pikachu or something, which
huh,
is quite cool. I wanted to
yes,
show
yeah.
you. I will share the screen.
Nice,
um I mean, not like this is. I will show you one of mine. This is one of mine, and I'm not sure
nice.
if you were actually discovering.
Oh, the Gatsby text.
Yeah, you
No,
didn't see that.
I didn't know this was a thing. Like I've seen this, but I never like put together what it meant.
So the
Dang.
really cool thing is that some of these threads and like accessories having this cultural element in it.
Yeah,
And this one, for example, has the text from the Great Gatsby. I was
that's
like,
super
I
cool.
really like Great Gatsby. There is other text which is from Franz Kafka book, Joseph K, which is the main character in which book? Uh,
Hubble
I'm
Tools
not.
is getting so good. It's insane.
Yeah,
How are
but
they like? How are they doing this? It's fucking awesome.
what is really cool, he has, and this is, I assume, quite difficult to do, which is like crown.
Oh, nice, dude. This is
Ah,
your.
oh,
There's
I got
yours.
it. Look how look. It's like I'm man. You see, I'm. I'm going
Stargaze and
hard,
Whale, dude.
right? This is
The
not
ones
fucking
I really
around.
like are the Grim Reaper ones. I like
It's yeah.
really want one of those.
But there is two type of crowns under one category. You see, like this crown
Mm.
go this
Okay.
way, which is apparently and this crown is totally different,
Oh, that one's smaller.
and it's
Yeah.
one category. So you have to adjust for the generation to recognize the different head shapes. So that was like quite special.
Dude, that's
Uh,
sick.
okay, Zeke. Um, wonder if you'd like to share something because we got a 90 minutes of chat, which like extended a little bit.
Nice.
um but this was huge pleasure to meet you,
Yeah,
and
dude, this was sick.
I wonder if you would like to do maybe some sort of podcast from time to time, discussion.
I'd be down, dude. I'd be down.
We can do something quickly because I just like I think I enjoy like chatting with the
Yeah,
about the systems and the governance, and we can always like discuss some things that is happening on Juno,
yeah. I'd
and
love to talk more sometime about like I think something in the chat was like would be about like DAOs and governance and like really
Mhm.
how to build a good DAO and what we've seen fail and what we've seen work and
Yeah.
things like that.
And like I would like this would be maybe slower episode, but like when we do design the DAO, because I try to play it with it, and I have to tell you, it's not you make it like very accessible, but I try to play it early on,
Oh,
and it's for person completely outside, you still can't make DAO.
yeah. I
Like,
think we've changed a lot probably since we redid the creation process entirely
mhm.
because of this quite recently. But yeah, we're working hard on that. But I agree,
Like
it is like
you
it
know
would be super valuable to just see you struggle with it and see what's hard.
I would be unable to make something like raw DAO. Like, so it's
Oh,
like you actually
yeah,
still
that's a little bit
need.
of an advanced thing. Yeah.
So yeah, there's other like also actually there is this concept that um is the Juno really having the best DAOs? Because I've seen like MakerDAO, right, which is on Ethereum. I do feel that many Juno people were never really involved in Ethereum, but I do
Mhm.
feel Ethereum is still like
No, for
um
sure. Yeah.
way ahead.
Oh
Like,
yeah, no doubt.
not in tooling, but it's like not even comparable.
Yeah, I think DAO probably at this point holds up pretty well to a lot of Ethereum DAO tooling. I
Hmm.
think Ethereum like the DAO tooling I've seen elsewhere is like weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we have a ways to go in Juno to just like figure out what a good DAO is, and like there's going to be like lots of iterations. I think, um,
This
but
is
it'll be fun.
this is this is really chaotic because I'm like getting ideas and I wasn't prepared like about design of the DAO, okay? Because you now work on Stargaze, so this makes perfect sense. And have you heard of Non's DAO?
No, nouns DAO. Yeah,
Nouns, sorry, Nouns
yeah.
DAO. Noun, sorry. Have you heard
No,
of this? Did you see
I
it?
have. Yeah, that seems a
Uh,
little weird and Ponzi to me. I'm a little skeptical.
it's like leading down Ethereum. So this is the
Yeah,
not known, right? Known. And each of
yeah.
known every day goes for like 100 ETH.
So crazy, dude.
There is 388, and this is like one known every day. So this is like a very scarce asset, and the treasury right now is 26,000 Ethereum.
That's sick. I
So
like.
is mhm,
Go ahead. Yeah.
$40 million right now from um and they have some votes. Like, actually, it's very functioning DAO. But when you look at this, it's very well designed DAO, and it's perfect purpose of DAO. Like,
Mm,
basically raising money. And you can do the beats, which is pretty cool.
yeah.
um so I wanted to ask you, like, because you work on Stargaze, it's something
Like
like bringing something like this beats, instead of like minting, like regular, I mean collection mint, would be really amazing.
Yeah, they do have some. I don't work on Stargaze that much. I've only
Hmm.
worked on this entertaining NFT stuff, but I do know that I from what I can see, the Stargaze NFT contracts do support bidding.
Hmm.
So I think it is technically possible.
Yeah, like there
Just
is
needs
plan, but
bias. It's like
do you know if the bid will be like one, or it will be mainly like bidding auction on the secondary market?
yeah, that's a good question.
Because that's different thing, like, right, you can bid, make auction on the secondary market, but bid through minting. So then you can actually do create something like the nonce that you like
Hmm.
release one daily.
Yeah,
um
I'm sure. Let me think. I think you
and
could do it. I think
yeah,
you could do it with big Stargaze contracts.
yeah.
You just gotta like mint one for the DAO, and then the DAO has to auction it off. I think
I
that's
I
good.
I was thinking, this it's not in plans, but like if I would do NFT ever, right? Like how to do NFT that is like moral, like
Oh yeah,
so too bad because I really like Bad Kids a lot. I don't think I could ever top that.
yeah, you can
But
never.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and like but it's hard because it's already out how to create DAO, and right, the major owner of the profits from that is the founder itself. But
Mm.
like if you do the DAO like nonce, right? Like you could do dons, like just silly example that
Yeah,
means
right.
every day, and the Don Kryptonium doesn't get anything. It's like just 100% everyday minting, like going to this treasury, 5% fee on top going to the treasury, and
Mm.
you essentially create the venture capital fund out
Yeah,
of
that's
the
an interesting
DAO.
idea.
And then let's say it's actually sub DAO with the because Don Kryptonium favorite system is monarchy.
Right. So there's a single person DAO below Don Kryptonium.
So it's a DAO, but Don Kryptonium manages
Is
that.
the emperor?
So
Yeah.
Don Kryptonium is owner you know, um, of the key for the DAO treasury. Um, but let's say it's more sorry, like it goes nowhere. Um, Even more people, right? There is Don, there is Zeke, there is few more people, multi Zeke, because it would be troublesome. And this is the kind of the subDAO governance that can propose the spending. So with
Mm.
that you can be really efficient, because let's say you only sell in stars tokens, but then you are like allow the subDAO to diversify treasury in the other tokens, right? And you use the DAO like you kind of listen to the will of people, this multi-sig, like, hey, we think it's like actually good, so instead of holding 100% Stargaze, we propose that we will hold 30% of the tokens if in the stable coin, 20%, like, and we are you giving us free power to trade tokens into different tokens.
Yeah.
Because if you push that decision via DAO,
No,
like
yeah.
it's
It's
like
really important. Yeah.
if you would make vote like, hey, let's like let's change 50% of treasury into Juno, like it you can't do it because then Juno pumps, and it's like
Sure.
it's
Oh, right.
so
Yeah.
you have to give allowance to the
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. That's exactly why I think sub DAOs are so important. It's because it lets a DAO be like, oh, well, let me delegate, like you said, like let me delegate like treasury diversification to this like
yeah,
sub DAO that the main DAO does have like admin control over and can like withdraw all its funds from that sub DAO anytime
yeah,
by a vote. But it like lets the DAO be pretty agile. Um, Yeah, so that's like my two phase is like vote delegation and sub
yeah.
DAOs, and then once we have that, we can do really complicated things.
and with that, with when you have this sub DAO kind of governance there, you don't really do like stupid decision like let's withdraw 50% to DAO holders, right? You don't want to do it. Like that's mismanagement. So that's what I
Yeah.
was thinking. That like that's why it's like I'm saying kind of like you build this monarchy system on the top, but you have to have these great representatives to not upset the others that give actually trust in your hands.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah. Or like likely you could say it on top, or you could say that the DAO sort of elects and delegates responsibility to these like this multi-sig,
exactly. This
which I
is
think
the
is a more democratic way of saying it than
yeah.
monarchy. It's the
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
idea.
it's not really monarchy because like
Yeah.
you there is quite still, but I tease monarchy because I would feel like, so I use the Juno Emperor
Yeah. Right.
because I
No.
feel
Yeah.
it upset people because exactly that's the opposite what there's
Oh,
community.
right.
But
Yeah. Well,
no, like I'm
it's
above.
intentional
It's me
irony.
who,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So but that's how it could work, like when you actually can have, and then the people give you like, you can give monthly statement, hey, we bought million Juno this month and stuff like this, and it's like,
Dude, the
you know,
Don Kryptonon DAO is balling out,
yeah.
buying millions of dollars of Juno every year, every month.
And then 10 years later, hey, I owe 20% of power.
There you go, man. Emperor
It's
Don.
no, I don't think it would lead, but I do like to think of the DAOs and what it could be. Not sure if you noticed the Juno was listed on Kraken.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Insane. That's
I
super
I
cool.
I was shocked because Kraken is my favorite centralized exchange.
Me too.
And a few days ago I talked about the like need of having the token on centralized exchange for deep liquidity and stuff, and there is like Kraken, the best that could happen,
Yeah.
you know?
It's so
So
cool. Yeah. Yeah. It's like going to be a lot easier to like, I don't know, the current process of getting Juno only via osmosis is like fine, but it's like really hard for people that
mhm.
aren't crypto native. So I
Yeah,
think it's
I
like,
think it will the trading will be enabled tomorrow. That's what it said, because
oh,
now
nice.
it's just like deposits. And I always like, because I do like, you know, like Juno Atom exchange, but now it's like directly
I know.
to,
Yeah. Yes.
it's great,
I'm so
right?
stoked, dude. It's great.
And the
Yeah.
Kraken doesn't list many coins. They have only like 200 coins or something like this. So it's not this kind of KuCoin exchange where they list everything,
Yeah.
which is
No,
like
it's
very
wild that they did
selective.
that. Like, why? It's crazy they chose Juno because they haven't listed Osmo or anything, have they?
No, no.
So, like,
So it's like,
crazy.
who was behind that? Let's
Who's behind? Who's pulling the strings?
is it, I mean, you know the answer. It's
It's
like
Don Cryptomon. Yeah. Yeah.
Don Krypton.
I
Yeah,
saw
yeah,
your
yeah.
tweet.
So
You brought us
uh
central exchange listings.
one call, you know. I but no, seriously, I think who could it be? Was there
It is
anyone
really
involved?
Yeah, or
Or
maybe
like,
Juno's just cool and people pay attention to it for the same reasons that you and I do, and just like I don't know.
yeah. I was thinking maybe like someone run this Kevin guy from Money. He seems like very like, you know, good with people. So I think
Okay.
maybe he was like sending emails and having the phone call, business phone call, because he
Yeah,
looks
did
like
I
the
wonder?
guy, you know. So
We're like the antisocial weirdos. Like we can't be out in public.
yeah. Okay. Zeke, thank you for the call. And like, I'm really sorry that this was so chaotic, you know.
No,
And
that's great. That's awesome.
I I really wanted to meet you.
Yeah,
Um,
this is perfect. We can do a
so
follow up where we do weird technical stuff, but this was
so
a pleasure. Yeah.
we can plan something for the future, what we are going to do, and maybe you can share also some more of like the your background work, but like um just few people who watch, they do really like you, nice guy. um Usually people like my guests more than me, which
Dude,
is
I don't know why. I can't.
yeah. What you gonna do with your day?
Dude, just gonna work on entertain NFTs all day, hopefully.
How many bad kids you have?
I have like 21 bad kids. I'm a
Peanut.
small whale. I'm minted 20 and that I bought this green one that I use as my profile photo now.
Well, it's good enough. It's good enough. It's like I approve. You know.
Nice.
Um. Okay. Don't work too hard, and enjoy the rest of your day. Uh.
You too, man.
Thank you, Brady. You enjoy